Yo, what's up YouTube? My name is R.O. and this video is about the richest man in Babylon. And we're on the chapter, The Gold Lender of Babylon. And I wrote it here with my own pen. This is like my affirmation video. So you just listen along. The Gold Lender of Babylon. 50 pieces of gold never before had Rodan, the spearmaker of old Babylon, carried so much gold in his leather wallet happily down the king's highway from the palace of his most liberal majesty. Cheerfully, the gold clicked as the wallet of his belt swayed with each step, the sweetest music he had ever heard. 50 pieces of gold, all his, he could hardly realize his good fortune. What power in those clinking discs! They could purchase anything he wanted: a grand house, land, cattle, camels, horses, chariots, whatever you might desire. What you should make of it. This evening, as he turned into a side street towards the home of his sisters, he could think of nothing he would rather possess than those of some glittering, heavy pieces of gold, his to keep. It was upon the evening, some days later, that the perplexed Rodan entered the shop of Mithon, the lender of gold and dealer in jewels and of rare fabrics. Glancing neither to the right nor the left of the colorful articles artfully displayed, he passed through the living quarters at the rear. Here he found the gentleman Mithon lounging upon a rug, partaking of the meal served by a black slave. I would counsel, with therefore I will not do what that do. Rodan stood right there, feet apart, hair breast exposed by the gaping front of his leather jacket. Mithon's narrow, sallow face smiled a friendly greeting. What indiscretions have thou done, that thou shalt seek the ledger of gold, the lender of gold? Has been unlucky to the gaming table, or hath some plump dam entangled thee? For many years I have known thee, yet never hast thou sought me to aid these in my troubles. No, not such as that. I seek no gold. Instead, I crave the wise advice. Here, this is the man that does say, no one comes to the lender of gold for advice. My ears must play me false. They listen true. Can this be so? Rodan the spearmaker does display more cunning than all of the rest, for he comes to Mithon not for gold, but for advice. Many men come to me for gold to play for their follies, but as for advice, they want it not. Yet who is more able to advise the lender of gold, to whom many men come in trouble? Thou shalt eat with me, Rodan, he continued. Thou shalt be the guest of this evening. And all he commanded the black slave, draw up the rag from the friend Rodan, the spearmaker who comes for advice. He shall be mine, honored guest. Bring to him much food to get him to the largest cup. Choose well of the best wine, that ye may have for the satisfaction in drinking. Now tell me what troubles thee. It's the king's gift. The king's gift. The king did make the gift, for it gives thee trouble. What manner of gift? Because he was so much pleased with the design, I did submit to him for a new point on the spears of the royal guard. He did present with me 50 pieces of gold, and now I am much perplexed. I am beseeched each hour the sun does travel across the sky by those who would share it with me. That is natural. More men want gold more than they have, and would wish one who comes to buy it easily to divide. But can you not say no? Is thy will not as strong at first? To many I can say no, yet sometimes it would be easy to say yes. Can one refuse to share with one sister whom is deeply devoted? Sure, thy own sister would not wish to deprive thee of enjoying the reward, but it is for the sake of Araman, her husband, who she wishes to see a rich merchant. She does feel that he has never had a chance, and she beseeches each to loan him this gold, that he may become a prosperous merchant and repay me for his profits. My friend resumed, Mithon, this is a worthy subject, though, that bringeth to discussion. Gold bringeth into the possessor responsibly and a changed position within his fellow men. It bringeth fear lest he lose it if he be tricked away from him. It bringeth a feeling of power and ability to do good. Likewise, it bringeth opportunities whereby every good intention may bring to him difficulties. This is a ear of the farmer of 9 who could understand the language of animals. I will not, for this, not the kind of tale man like to tell over bronze cast or forge. I will tell it to the for now. I should know that to borrowing and lending there is more than the passing of gold from the hands of one to another. This farmer who could understand that, once the animals said to each other, did linger in the farmyard each evening to listen to their words. One evening he did hear from this hardness of his lot. I did labor pulling the plow from morning until night, no matter how that day went, or how tired my legs, or how my clothes, or what I must think. And I am just still a creature of nature. You are trapped with a colorful blanket and do nothing more than carry our master about where he wishes to go. When he goes nowhere, you do rest and you eat green grass and all day, and that ass is in spite of its vicious heels. That goodly fellow sympathized with the ox. My good friend, he replied, you do work very hard, and I would ease your lot. Therefore, I will tell you how you may have a day's of rest. In the morning, when the slave comes to fetch you to the plow, upon the ground and the bellow, much that we may say you are sick and cannot work. So the ox took the advice of the axe, and the next morning the slave returned to the farmer and told the ox that was sick and could not pull the plow. Then said to the farmer, hitch this ass up to the plowing and must go on. All that day that ass had any day intended to help his friend, found himself compelled to do the ox's task. When night came and he was released from the plow, his heart was bitter and his legs were weary and his neck was sore where the bow had chafed it. The farmer lingered in the barnyard to listen. The ox began first. You are my good friend because you are wise advice. I have enjoyed a day of rest. And I have retorted to the OGs, and I like many. I just made that up. It's my video. Anyways. Yeah, I have enjoyed a day of rest, and I have, when I'm like any other simple-hearted one who starts to help a friend and ends up doing the task for him. Hereafter, you draw your own plow, for I did hear the master tell you to send the butcher where you seek it again. I wish we would for all you lazy fellows. Therefore they spoke to each other no more. This ended their friendship. And canst you tell to the tale that I put upon? 'Tis a good tale, responded Rhydon, but I see not the morale. I thought that what you would, but there is a simple truth to this, just this: if you desire to help any friend, do so in a way that will not bring that friend's burden upon themselves. He had not thought of that. It is a wise moral. I wish to assume the burdens of my sister's husband, but tell me, you lend to many. Do you not have borrowers to repay? Methon smiled, the smile of those which his soul is rich with much experience. Could a loan be well made if a borrower cannot be paid? Must not the lender be wise and judge carefully whether his gold can perform a useful purpose to the borrower and the return to him once more, or whether it be wasted by one unable to use it wisely and leave without his treasure and leave the borrower with a debt he cannot repay? He will show to thee the tokens in the token chest, and that's some of their stories. Into the room he brought a chest as long as his arm, covered with the red pigskin, ornamented with bronze design. He placed it upon the floor and squatted before it, both hands upon the lid. Each person by whom I lend, I do exact a token from my token chest, to remain there until the loan is repaid. When they repay, I give back that, but if they never repay, it will always remind me of one who was not faithful to my confidence. The safest loans, my token box tells me, are to those possessions of more value than those that they desire. They own lands or jewels or camels or other things which could be sold to repay the loan. Some of the tokens given to me are jewels of more value than the loan. Others are promises that the loan will not be paid as agreed, and they will deliver to me certain property of that settlement. On loans like those, I am assured that my gold will be returned with the rental to which I am entitled. Such loans are based on human effort. Others are those who have neither property nor assured earning capacity. Life is hard, and there will always be some who cannot adjust themselves to it. Alas for the loans I make them, even though it may be no longer my pen's token box, can ensure my insurance for the rest of the years and come unless they are guaranteed by good friends of the borrower who know I am honorable. Mathon released the clasp and opened the lid. Rodin leaned forward eagerly at the top of the chest. A bronze neck piece lied upon the scarlet cloth. Mathon picked up the piece and patted it affectionately. This shall always remain in my token. Just because the owner has passed on into the great darkness. I treasure his token and I treasure his memory, for he was a good friend. We traded together with much success until out of the East he brought a woman to wed. Beautiful, but not like our women. A dazzling creature, he spent his gold lavishly so to gratify her desires. He came to me in distress when his gold was gone. I concealed with him, I counseled with him, I told him I would help him to once more master his own affairs. He swore by the son of the great bull that he would, but it was hot to be, it was not to be. In a quarrel she thrust a knife into the heart of her dared pierce. And she questioned Rodin. Yes, of course this was hers. He picked up the scarlet cloth in bitter remorse. She threw herself into the rates. This two loans will never be repaid. The chest tells you, Rodin, that humans in the throes of great emotions are not safe risks for the gold lender. Here, now, this is different. He reached for a ring carved out of the box stone. This belongs to a farmer. I buy the rugs of his woman. This locust came to me and not have food. He helped him, and then the new crop came, and he repaid me. Later he came again and told of strange goats in distant land, and as described by a traveler. They had long hair so fine and soft it would weave into rugs more beautiful than ever seen in Babylon. He wanted a herd, but he had no money. He wanted a herd, but he had no money, so I did lend him gold to make the journey and bring back goats. Now his herd has begun, and next year I shall surprise the lords of Babylon with the most expensive rugs that has ever been there for their good fortune to buy. Soon I must return his ring. He does insist on repaying promptly. Some borrows do that? Queried Rodin. Yes, they borrow. And in the purposes that bring money back to them, I find it so. But if they borrow because of their indiscretions, I warn thee to be cautious. If they would just listen, they would get gold back in their hand. Tell me about this, requested Rodin. Picking up a heavy gold bracelet and set with jewels and a rare design, the women do appeal to my good friend. Bantered Mathon. I am still much younger than you, said Rodin. I am Grant, but this time it does suspicion romance where it is not. The owner of this is fact, and wrinkled, and does talk so much and so little, she drives me mad. And once they had much money and were good customers, but ill times came upon them, as the rest of the world. She has a son of whom she would make a merchant. So she came to me and borrowed gold that might become a partner of caravan owner who travels with his camels, bartering in one city of what he buys in another. This man proved a rascal, for he left the poor boy in the distant city without money and without friends, pulling out early while the youth slept. Perhaps when this youth has grown to manhood, he will repay. Until then, I get no rental for the loan, only much talk. But I do admit the jewels are worthy of the loan. Did this lady ask the advice as to the wisdom of the loan? Quite otherwise. She had pictured to herself the son of hers as a wealthy and powerful man of Babylon. To suggest the contrary was to infuriate her. A fair rebuke I had. I knew the risk for this inexperienced boy, but as he offered security, I could not refuse her. She continued, Mathon, waving a bit of pack rope tied in the knot, belongs to Nebatur. Nebatur? I can just make this up. Nebatur. Whatever name I want to say. He's a camel trader. When he would buy a herd larger than his funds, he brings to me this knot, and I lend to him according to his needs. He's a wise trader. I have confidence in his good judgment and can lend him freely. Many of the other merchants of Babylon have my confidence because of their honorable behavior. Their tokens come and go frequently in my token box. Good merchants are on to our city, and its profits to aid them to keep trade moving through Babylon are prosperous. Mathon picked up a beetle carved in turquoise and tossed it onto the floor. A bug from Egypt that owns this does not care whether I have received my gold. When I reproach him, he replies, "How can I repay when ill fate pursues me? You have plenty more. What can I do? The token is yours further, a worthy man of small means who did pledge his land and herd to back his son's enterprises." The youth found success at first, and then they were overzealous to gain great wealth. His knowledge was immature, his enterprise collapsed. Youth is ambitious. Youth would take the shortcuts to wealth and the desirable things for which it stands. To secure wealth quickly often becomes and borrows and is unwise. Youth, never having had experience, cannot realize that hopeless debt is like a deep pit in which one may descend quickly and where one may struggle vainly for days. It is a pit of sorrow and regret where the brightness of the sun is overcast and a night is dim and unhappy by restless sleeping. Yet I do not discourage borrowing gold. I encourage it. I recommend it for it to be of wise purposes. I myself made my first real success as a merchant with borrowed gold. Yet what should the lender do in such a case? The youth is in despair and accomplishes nothing. He is discouraged. He makes no effort to repay. My heart turns against depriving the father of his land and cattle. You tell me much that I am interested to hear, ventured Rodan, but I hear now answer to my own questions. Should I lend to my 50 pieces of gold to my sister's husband? They mean too much to me. The sister is a sterling woman who I do has much esteem. Should her husband come to me and ask to borrow 50 pieces of gold, I should ask him for what purposes he would use it. If he answered that he desired to become a merchant like myself and deal in jewels and rich furnishings, I would say, what knowledge have you of the ways of trade? Do you know where you can buy at the lowest cost? Do you know where you can sell at a fair price? Could you say yes to those questions? No, he could not. Rodan admitted, he has helped me much in making spears, and he has helped me some in the shops. Then would I say to him that his purpose was not wise? Merchants must learn through trade. His ambition, though worthy, is not practical, and it would not lend him any gold. But supposing he could say, yes, I have helped merchants much. I know how to travel to and buy gold at low cost in the rugs of the housewives for them to weave. I also know many of the rich people of Babylon to whom I can sell these at a large profit. Then I would say, your purpose is wise and your ambition is honorable. I shall be glad to lend you 50 pieces of gold if you can give me security. Other than that, I am an honored man, and I will pay you well for the loan. Then I would reply, I treasure much each piece of gold. Were the robbers to take my car, if from you as journeyed or taken rugs from and has returned, then you have no means of repaying me, and your gold will be gone. Gold, you see, Rodan, is the merchandise of the lender of money. It is easy to lend. If it is lent unwisely, then it is difficult to get back. The wise lender wishes not the risk of undertaking by the guarantee of safe repayment. 'Tis we are continued to assist those that are in trouble. 'Tis we are to help those upon whom fate has laid a heavy hand. 'Tis we will help those who are starting that may progress and become valuable citizens. But help must be given wisely, lest like the farmer's ass, in the desire to help, but we take upon ourselves the burden that belongs to another. Again, I wandered from thy question, Rodan, but hear my answer. Keep the 50 pieces of gold, while thy labors and what they earn is given thee for the reward. It is my own advice to man to obligation upon the part which is, unless it is done by some wish. If he would have also lent that to earn more gold than the lending with caution, and many other places would not have happened. I like not idle gold, even I like less much of a risk. How many years has the labored as the spearmaker? Fully 3. How much besides the king's gift have saved? 3 gold pieces. Each year that has labored has denied themselves of good things to soar from the earnings of pieces of gold. 'Tis as you say, them are the mightiest in 50 years of labor of 50 pieces of gold, that is self-denial. I have a lifetime of labor, and it would be and I would think that the sister would wish not to jeopardize the savings of 50 years of labor over the bronze melting pot, that her husband might experiment on being a merchant. Not if I spoke in your words. Then go to her and say, 3 years I have labored each day, except fast days, from morning until night, and I have denied myself many things my heart craved. For each year of labor and of self-denial, I have to show but 1 piece of gold. Though art may be favored sisters with which her husband may engage in businesses in which he will prosper greatly. If you will submit to me a plan that seems wise and possible to my friend Mathon, who will be gladly to lend my savings on an entire year, that he may have an opportunity to prove that he can succeed. Do that, I say. And if he was within him the soul to succeed, he can prove it. If he fails, he will not owe thee more than he can hope to say someday repay. I am a gold lender because I am more than just gold. I can use it in my own trade. I desire my surplus of gold to be labored for of others, thereupon I earn more gold. I do not wish to take risk losing gold, for I have labored much and denied myself much to secure it. Therefore, I will no longer lend any of it where I am not confident that it is not safe and that it is not going to be returned back to me. Neither will I lend it where I am not convinced that its earnings will be promptly paid to me. I have told thee, Rodin, a few of the secrets of my token chest. From them you will understand the weaknesses of men, and their eagerness to borrow that have no certain way or means of repay, or a plan. From this you can see how often their high hopes of the great earnings they could make if they but had a goal, but are of just false hopes of not having the ability of training of fulfillment. Then Rodin now have gold which they should put into the earnings more for us. Thou art has become as I, a gold lender. If thou dost safely preserve the treasure, it will produce liberal earnings for thee and be rich source of pleasure and profit during all the days. But if thou dost let it escape from thee, it will be a source of constant sorrow and regret as long as the memory does last. What desires thou most in gold is in the wallet, is just to keep it safe, wisely spoken, replied. Approvingly, the first desire is for safety. Thinkest that through in the custody of thy sister's husband, and it would truly be safe not for any possible loss. I fear not, for I am here in a moment, wise and in guarding gold. Then we will not be swayed by the sentiments of obligation to trust the treasure to any person. If thou wouldn't help the family of thy friends find another way, then risking the loss of the treasure, forget not that it will slip away in unexpected ways from the unskilled fold in guarding it, as well as a waste of the treasure and extra, as others lose it in time. What next after safety does desire for this treasure of time? That is more gold. Again, the speaker here is full of wisdom. It should be made to earn and grow larger. Gold wisely lent may even double itself with its earnings before a man like you groweth old. If you risk losing it, you will risk losing all of that, and we forgive you. You will risk losing all, and it will earn as well. Therefore, be not swayed by fantastic plans of impractical men who think they see ways to force gold to make earnings unusually large. Such plans are the creations of dreamers, unfulfilled in the safe and dependable laws of trade. Be conservative in what thou shalt respect to earn, and thou may keep and enjoy the treasure. To hire it out with a promise of usurious returns is to invite loss. Seek to associate themselves with men and enterprises whose successes is established, that they treasure may even earn liberally under skillful use and be guarded safely by the wisdom and experience. Thus, you may now avoid all of the misfortunes that follow most of the sons of men whose God sees fit to entrust gold. When Rodan would thank him for his wise advice, he would not listen, saying, "The king's gift shall teach them much wisdom." If wouldn't they just listen to keep 50 pieces of gold, they may be discreet indeed. Many uses will be tempted thee, much advice will be spoken to thee, numerous opportunities to make large profits will be offered to you. The stories from my token box should warn thee before they let any pieces of gold to let in my pouch, to be sure that I have it in a safe way to pull it back again. Should my father advice appeal to thee, return again, it is gladly given. This goes here, with which I have carved beneath the lid of many token boxes. It applies equally to the borrower and to the lender. Better a little caution than regret. That was The Gold Lender of Babylon. In my affirmation journal, I read it to you here and with my pen. My name's R.O. and thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll talk to you soon.